In the heart of the Arctic, where temperatures can fall to a brutal -80 degrees Fahrenheit, the Inuit have developed a remarkable skill: finding drinkable water in an environment where almost everything is frozen. It may seem simple at first. Melt some snow or ice and drink. But surviving in these conditions requires more than common sense. It takes knowledge passed down through generations and a deep understanding of what the Arctic truly demands. Many people assume that snow is an easy solution, but that belief can be dangerously misleading. The Inuit have learned, through centuries of experience, that eating snow is far from safe. While it looks clean and pure, snow can carry harmful bacteria and viruses, even in such a remote region. But the bigger danger isn't always what's in the snow, it's what it takes for the body to process it. In freezing conditions, every bit of warmth matters. When you eat snow, your body has to use its own energy reserves to melt it and bring it up to body temperature. That energy loss, though subtle, can be enough to increase your risk of hypothermia. Instead of hydrating you, eating snow can actually speed up dehydration. The Inuit have long known this and have adapted by melting ice using controlled heat sources, making sure the water is safe and warmed properly before drinking. It's one of many subtle but life-saving practices they've refined to survive in a land of endless cold. Survival in the Arctic hinges on more than just knowing how to melt snow. It's about knowing which snow is safe to melt. The Inuit, shaped by centuries of experience, have mastered the art of selecting the right kind. Their go-to: freshly fallen, untouched snow. Unlike older snow that has spent days accumulating dust, debris, and contaminants, fresh snow offers a cleaner and more reliable option for melting into drinking water. It's obvious enough to avoid yellow snow, but dangers aren't always that clear. Windblown snow is a common trap. It might appear clean, but beneath its soft surface often lies compacted snow, layered with trapped pollutants and microbes from the environment. Think of it like a snow-layered cake. The deeper you go, the more risk you uncover. That dense snow not only takes longer to melt, but also holds more concentrated impurities. The Inuit know that wasting energy melting poor-quality snow is a costly mistake in sub-zero conditions, where conserving warmth is vital. Choosing clean, efficient snow is as much about survival as it is about smart energy use. This instinct, refined over generations, reflects just how closely the Inuit observe and understand their environment. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, YouTube is more likely to recommend this kind of content to others who enjoy it too. Just hit that red subscribe button below. It's quick, it's free, and it really helps the channel grow. In the vast Arctic landscape, where every action counts toward survival, the Inuit have learned that ice, not snow, often makes the better choice for drinking water. Although harvesting ice requires more effort, it rewards that effort with cleaner, more dependable hydration. But the key lies in knowing what kind of ice to collect, a skill the Inuit have sharpened through generations of living in extreme cold. Their top pick is clear ice. Unlike its cloudy counterpart, which contains air bubbles and possible contaminants, clear ice forms slowly in distinct layers, resulting in a cleaner and more efficient water source. While cloudy ice isn't always dangerous, it's far from ideal when your life depends on hydration. One remarkable skill passed down in Inuit culture is judging ice by sound. When tapped, clear ice rings out with a sharp, glass-like tone, much like striking a crystal. In contrast, cloudy ice gives off a dull, hollow sound, a giveaway that it contains trapped air and potentially impurities. This acoustic trick allows the Inuit to assess quality before spending energy harvesting. There's also a clear preference between freshwater and sea ice. Though both are abundant, only one is suitable for drinking. Freshwater ice is free from the salt and minerals that saturate sea ice, which not only taste unpleasant, but also draw moisture out of the body, speeding up dehydration. In emergencies, sea ice might be used, but it's far from a smart or sustainable choice. To the modern eye, such detailed selection might seem overly cautious. But in the Arctic, there's no margin for error. Picking the wrong ice doesn't just taste bad, it risks your health. Through years of trial, observation, and knowledge passed from one generation to the next, the Inuit have perfected a system where even the ice has a story to tell. After carefully choosing the right snow or ice, the next obstacle the Inuit face is turning that frozen mass into drinkable water. No easy task in an environment so cold that even your breath turns to frost before it fades. With air temperatures dropping to -80 degrees Fahrenheit, lighting a fire becomes a challenge in itself. Striking a match alone won't cut it out here. The Inuit have developed clever, reliable methods to create and maintain heat, despite the brutal cold and limited materials. In the Arctic, fire is more than a comfort, it's a lifeline. But with traditional fuels like wood nearly non-existent and standard fire-starting tools often failing, survival demands innovation. The Inuit rely on heat sources that maximize energy efficiency and conserve their resources, from carefully burning animal fat in stone lamps to creating insulated spaces that hold warmth. Every move is strategic. When melting ice for water, there's no room for waste, only purpose, patience, and deep knowledge of the land. Among the Inuits' most brilliant innovations for surviving the Arctic cold is the blubber lamp. Unlike ordinary lamps, these are powered by fat rendered from whales or seals hunted during expeditions. Once lit, the lamp's wick burns steadily, casting light and producing a slow, reliable heat source. But beyond illumination, its true value lies in its ability to melt snow or ice gradually, turning frozen wilderness into life-sustaining water. Sometimes, though, a lamp alone doesn't cut it. That's when the Inuits' deep knowledge of primitive fire starting shines. In a place where firewood is scarce and the air fights every spark, they use flint and steel to create fire. With precise strikes, sparks fall onto dry tinder, perhaps moss, dried grass, or birch bark, rare materials they prize and carefully preserve. Each scrap of burnable matter is treated like treasure, gathered in advance and stored with care. Even melting snow isn't left to guesswork. Add too much heat, and the water can take on a foul taste. Too little, and the process stretches endlessly. The Inuit have refined this balance over generations, learning to position their melting containers just close enough to the heat to melt efficiently without scorching the snow. Think of the patience it takes to melt ice for hours, all for 1 cup of water, especially when each flame, each ounce of fuel, must be perfectly rationed. There's no microwave here, no instant boil, just a slow, steady transformation powered by careful planning and precise execution. From striking the first spark to taking the first sip, it's a process that reflects the Inuits' unmatched resilience in the face of one of the world's harshest climates. In the unforgiving Arctic, melting ice for water isn't just about building a fire. It's about keeping that fire alive against winds that can whip across the tundra at 60 miles per hour. In such fierce gusts, even the strongest flame would vanish within seconds. For the Inuit, this challenge has been met with generations of ingenuity and an approach that works in harmony with the landscape rather than trying to conquer it. Their most iconic solution, the igloo. More than just a snow shelter, it's a feat of engineering designed to make the most of limited heat. While outside temperatures can fall to a staggering -40 degrees Fahrenheit, the interior of an igloo can remain at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, often just from body heat. Add a blubber lamp or a controlled flame, and it becomes a warm, functional environment, perfect for melting snow or ice. The igloo's rounded structure traps rising heat efficiently and channels smoke out through a small vent at the top, keeping the inside air breathable and evenly warm. This careful balance of insulation and ventilation allows the Inuit to melt ice steadily, even when outside conditions are brutal. But what if there's no time to build an igloo? Then nature itself becomes the solution. The Inuit make use of windbreaks, rock outcrops, ice ridges, or even the leeward side of a snowbank. These natural barriers can shield a small fire just enough to let it do its job. It's not unlike choosing the right spot on a windy coast, only here, the stakes are much higher. The goal isn't avoiding a sandblast, it's preventing your only source of drinking water from freezing solid before it ever reaches your lips. Timing is everything when it comes to melting water in the Arctic. For an Inuit family of 5, producing enough water to meet daily needs isn't a quick job. It can easily stretch over 2 to 3 hours, even under ideal circumstances with clean snow or ice. When conditions are less cooperative, that timeframe grows. This isn't a task to rush. It demands patience, strategy, and a careful rhythm. Imagine it like simmering a hearty stew. Too fast, and you lose the flavor. Too slow, and dinner takes all night. The Inuit apply this mindset when melting ice. Inside their shelters, they often run several melting stations at once. While one pot is turning ice into drinkable water, another is already being prepped with a new batch of snow or ice. The goal is to keep the cycle moving without wasting time or heat. But every detail matters. If water cools for too long after melting, it refreezes, turning hours of effort into frustration. Heat it too fast, and the taste can become off, and precious fuel may be lost. The Inuit have perfected this delicate balance, slow enough to maintain quality, fast enough to meet the family's needs. And the payoff? Exceptionally pure water. Drawn from snow and ice, formed in one of the world's most unpolluted regions. It's the kind of clarity no modern water treatment plant can replicate. It's like comparing a homegrown vegetable to something from a supermarket aisle. While melting snow and ice remain the most dependable option during the winter months, the Inuit also uncovered something remarkable: naturally flowing water hidden below thick ice sheets, even during the coldest times of the year. It might seem unbelievable at first. How could water remain liquid in a place where nearly every surface is sealed in ice? Yet the Inuit have long known that beneath the frozen shell of the Arctic, there are secret pockets of flowing water. These rare sources exist not by chance, but because of the Earth itself. Geothermal heat and underground pressure work together in certain spots to keep water from freezing entirely, allowing it to remain in liquid form even in the middle of a brutal winter. The Inuit didn't stumble upon these places by accident. Over centuries, they built a deep understanding of their terrain, passing down detailed knowledge of where these hidden springs could be found. These weren't just helpful locations, they were lifelines, sometimes used for over 1,000 years, long before Europe's castles ever rose from stone. Accessing these underground reserves required precision. The Inuit would carefully carve openings in the ice, returning to these spots whenever fresh water was needed. And they knew exactly where to look. A gentle sag in the snow, a faint puff of vapor, or a slightly unusual surface could all signal the presence of unfrozen water beneath. As winter gave way to spring, the Arctic slowly stirred to life, and seasonal springs began to emerge again. These natural fountains saved precious time and fuel, providing clean, flowing water without the hours of melting snow. In a land where every resource matters, these springs were more than convenience. They were evidence of the Inuits' remarkable connection with the land. Their ability to find and use these hidden sources shows just how deeply survival and knowledge are intertwined in the Arctic. Although natural springs offered the Inuit a valuable source of fresh water, they couldn't always count on them. The Arctic is enormous, ever-shifting, and unpredictable. Inuit families were often on the move, following caribou migrations, seeking new fishing grounds, or shifting with the seasons. So while known springs were cherished, mobility meant they had to be ready to melt ice and snow whenever necessary. Think of it like having a favorite cafe nearby. It's great when you're in the neighborhood, but you still need to know how to brew coffee at home. For the Inuit, melting snow or ice on demand wasn't a fallback. It was a survival skill they had to perfect. Wherever they went, that ability had to travel with them. The knowledge of hidden water spots was passed on like treasured family stories, not just remembered in maps, but stored in the minds of elders and taught through lived experience. But when water was finally collected and melted, a new issue quickly followed: how to stop it from freezing all over again. In response, the Inuit came up with clever storage techniques. Seal and caribou skins were ideal for holding water, not because they were readily available, but because these animals had evolved natural insulation to survive the very cold the Inuit lived in. Properly treated, their skins became flexible, durable containers that offered surprising protection against refreezing. These skin containers, with layers of insulating fat and fur, worked like natural thermoses, keeping the liquid water drinkable for longer stretches. This simple yet brilliant adaptation not only conserved heat but saved time and effort, preserving every drop of water that had been so carefully obtained. Inside an igloo, where temperatures can hover just above freezing, the Inuit created dedicated zones to store their water. These storage spots worked much like a natural refrigerator, cold enough to keep water from spoiling, but not so cold that it would instantly turn back to ice. It was a delicate balance, and the igloo's insulating structure made it the perfect place to keep drinking water in liquid form for longer stretches. But travel demanded more creativity. Out on the tundra, temperatures drop quickly, and standing water doesn't stay liquid for long. To counter that, the Inuit often carried water containers tucked directly against their skin. It wasn't the most comfortable method, but it was incredibly effective. Body heat kept the contents from freezing, even during extended journeys. A specially placed pouch under layers of clothing could mean the difference between staying hydrated and going without. Beyond the traditional use of animal skins, they sometimes fashioned containers from wood or bone. These alternatives didn't insulate as well, so they were often wrapped in extra layers of fur or hides and stored in sheltered areas to reduce exposure to wind and deep cold. Every container had its purpose. Larger ones stayed at camp for bulk storage, while smaller ones were kept close at hand for travel. This wasn't just practicality, it was strategy, refined through generations. Each container was regularly inspected for cracks, leaks, or wear. If one failed, replacing it quickly was vital. Maintenance wasn't optional, it was essential for survival. In many ways, this mirrors modern camping principles. It's not just about where you get your water, but how you store and protect it. But for the Inuit, the consequences of poor planning were far more severe. Their water storage techniques weren't just thoughtful, they were life-saving lessons passed down through time, ensuring that no matter how far they traveled or how harsh the weather turned, they always had a dependable source of liquid water ready when it mattered most. Today, Inuit communities blend centuries-old survival wisdom with modern innovations to meet their water needs in a changing Arctic. While their ancestors depended entirely on melting snow and harvesting ice, many present-day Inuit settlements now benefit from centralized systems that deliver clean water directly to homes. But living in the far north still brings its own set of challenges. Keeping water from freezing in such an extreme environment requires more than just pipes. It takes ingenuity. Enter utilators, large, insulated tunnels that run underground, carrying water and sewage lines through heated pathways. These conduits act like the Arctic's version of a subway system, not for people, but for water. Thanks to this clever engineering, vital pipes are kept from freezing even when outdoor temperatures plunge far below zero. These systems are carefully managed year-round to ensure the flow never stops. Outside of larger settlements, though, things look different. Remote homes often can't connect to these underground tunnels, so water delivery takes a different shape, quite literally. Snowmobiles equipped with tanks serve as water taxis, transporting fresh water across frozen landscapes. It's like getting a delivery service, but instead of groceries, you're receiving the most essential item of all: drinking water. Despite access to these technologies, many Inuit families still practice traditional methods. Some still collect ice or use underground springs, especially during winter. This isn't just about practicality. It's a cultural practice rooted in respect for the land and self-sufficiency. The result is a powerful combination of past and present. Whether drawing from ancestral experience or using heated pipelines, the Inuit continue to prove that adapting to the Arctic's harsh realities is not just about survival, it's about thriving with resilience, insight, and innovation. When it comes to water use in the Arctic, the difference between Inuit communities and households in southern Canada couldn't be more pronounced. While the average home down south might use close to 100 gallons of water daily, Inuit families typically make do with just 20 gallons. That gap speaks volumes, not only about the difficulty of accessing water in the far north, but also about the Inuits' long-standing culture of conservation. Water is never taken for granted. Every drop is measured, every use is intentional, and waste is simply not part of the routine. Over time, water storage practices have also evolved. In the past, seal skin bags were the primary choice, lightweight, flexible, and naturally insulating. But as times changed, plastic containers began to take their place. Easier to clean, longer lasting, and less prone to leaks, these modern containers are now found in most homes. Still, traditional water bags haven't disappeared entirely. They're often brought out for specific occasions, hunting trips, cultural gatherings, or when honoring ancestral ways. Even with today's infrastructure, ice harvesting hasn't vanished. Many Inuits still collect ice from trusted spots, believing it produces purer, better-tasting water than what flows through modern systems. What has changed is the method. Instead of using blubber lamps, families now melt ice with electric stoves or kettles. It's a quiet but powerful fusion of old and new. This ability to integrate modern tools without losing cultural values is a hallmark of Inuit resilience. Water collection and storage have shifted over time, but the spirit behind those practices, resourcefulness, respect for the land, and cultural continuity, remains untouched. By weaving tradition into today's realities, the Inuit keep their connection to the Arctic strong and prepare the next generation to carry it forward. And hey, I've noticed some of you are watching without subscribing. If you're into this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. It helps YouTube show you more of it, and it lets me know you're enjoying the ride. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.